Welcome to Real Estate Coaching Radio, starring award-winning real estate coaches and #1 international best-selling authors, Tim and Julie Harris. This is the #1 daily radio show for realtors looking for a no BS, authentic, real-time coaching experience. What's really working in today's market, how to generate more leads, make more money, and have more time for what you love in your life. And now your hosts, Tim and Julie Harris.
Welcome back. First of all, we want to thank you guys for continuing to keep this the #1 listened to daily podcast for real estate professionals in at least the United States. We are getting daily reports on the fact that the podcast is continuing to increase downloads and people listening to the show. And I know why. It's because you guys like what you're hearing and then you're sharing it with other agents. So please continue to do so. It is truly our pleasure and our honor to be part of your lives and for you to be part of ours every single day. It's something that Julie and I actually look forward to, and a sea of things we don't look forward to. For example, going to the gym every day. And we started posting videos mostly of us working out, doing kettlebells at the gym. And if you want to have perhaps a little motivation of knowing that your loyal podcast hosts are also willing to do what they don't want to do and they don't want to do it at the highest level, do check us out on Instagram at Tim and Julie Harris and follow us over there, and we'll send you our daily videos of our daily torture sessions. Julie was breaking her all-time best records today. It's, we obviously are going to continue to work out, but when we started posting the videos and the pictures of us working out, the amount of feedback we got from all of you saying that we are motivating you to start working out has encouraged us to even do more posting. So there you go. Please do check us out over on Instagram. And Julie, congratulations. You did kick some serious butt today.
Thank you. You as well. And, I was thinking the use of video, we all just came out of this whole 2 years of pandemic learning how to Zoom and video and post and all these things. One of the great byproducts that I've seen, use an example of one of our elite coaching clients, is she now, because she knows how to Zoom, has found a great accountability partner, which is always a challenge. If you find a good one, you should stick to them. But one of the things they're doing is I think they're calling it their hour of power. And on weekdays, they are Zooming together. And the rule is they have to be able to see each other on the screen. And they have a race to set listing appointments. And they watch each other do that. And then, you can chat and say, I'm talking to a for sale by owner right now. I followed up with them 5 times. And now I finally think that I'm going to set the appointment. What are you doing? And they're making it fun and supportive. So I think that's sort of similar to our kettlebell hell, as we lovingly call it.
Well,
a little bit of accountability.
You and I used to do exactly that when we would prospect ourselves. And we've certainly done that for coaching clients. It's like, you can track the number of dials, the number of contacts, the number of conversations, the number of appointments set, but you get to a point where you just really are only focused on the result. And the result is setting a pre-qualified listing appointment. And that's what we definitely have all of our advanced coaching clients do. You can look, the numbers are important because it tells you where you can improve. But at the end of the day, focusing too much on the minutia is going to move you further away from what the goal is, which is setting a pre-qualified listing appointment. So the game that Julie and I used to play when we used to prospect every day, and the game that we have our coaching clients play, is that you can stop prospecting if you choose to after you set one pre-qualified listing appointment. In other words, if you really hate doing prospecting and you know that you don't have to do it anymore after you set one pre-qualified listing appointment versus having to make your 20 contacts, what's going to happen is miraculously you're going to become the best pre-qualifier and appointment setter known to man because you really, really, really hate doing it and you want to get it over with fast. So, it's funny how much, once you learn how to manipulate your own psychology, it's amazing how much faster you can move. And that really is, frankly, why we do kettlebells too.
That's right.
Because doing kettlebells, and we're not going to talk about working out. We're going to get back to our topic, which is obviously inflation and what's going to happen in the housing market. But kettlebells is like a lot of other things that it will encompass. Really, it's a whole body workout in essence. But normally, if you think about, for example, and this relates directly to real estate. Let's just go back to proactive lead generation. When you learn how to be a proactive lead generator, when you move past all of the sort of, the fears that agents have about being a proactive lead generator, and you learn to actually pick up the phone and set your own appointments, the other side stream benefits that fill your life because of the fact that you are working on, if not mastered that skill, are limitless, because now you're no longer somebody that's going to have to be beholden to other people providing you leads. Now it's even better. You can now move physically from one geographic area of the country to the other. We've had agents that we've coached who have actually moved. I mean, Julie and I did it. We moved from Central Ohio. We love Central Ohio and our families there and the whole thing. But we really got sick of the winter. And boy, there are a lot of other places to live in the country if you have portable skills, which is proactive lead generation. Now, if you spend a whole bunch of money and marketing and branding and all the rest of it into a particular area, let alone buying leads, you're not going to have the ability to move if you choose not to. Maybe that's an extreme example for some of you, and I accept that. But the other psychological benefits that come from you knowing how to actually proactively lead generate, and your day is not spent trying to figure out what the latest marketing gimmick is. Your day is actually spent doing the proactive lead generation, pre-qualifying, setting an appointment, going out and taking the listing, and making money. And that's how you build a profitable business of any sort, let alone real estate. Because when you are doing that repetitiously every single day, that is your job. That is what we coach you guys to do, is we move you towards the state of knowing that you can set a pre-qualified listing appointment every single day. I know that might sound extreme to some of you. It's just because you don't have the skill set. Once you realize conceptually how the skill set works, once you realize there's 7 steps to actually accomplishing the goal of setting pre-qualified listing appointments and getting paid on them, obviously, when they sell, you will then have a path to move forward. Now, that actually brings me up to something I have to ask Julie. Julie and I were talking about the fact that she was considering taking on a handful of new personal coaching clients.
Yes.
Now, she has not taken on any new coaching clients for 2 years. And the reason that we want to take on new, or at least that she's talking about it, and I haven't asked you about this, so I'll ask you in front of everyone right now. So there's tens of thousands of people listening to you, right? So you said before you wanted to take on up to 6 personal coaching clients.
Yes.
And you're wanting to do that because you want to make sure that we have, because right now your personal clients are concentrated in certain areas of the country, and we want more personal exposure to other markets in the country so that we can, again, because our best information doesn't come from reading headlines or even talking to the people, the FDIC or Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac, or looking at foreclosure filings or looking at interest rates. Our best information comes from you guys. And for us to be frosty and be efficient podcast hosts, let alone our coaching company and writing books and all the rest of the stuff we do, we need the best of breed information. And that comes from boots on the ground real estate agents. And so for that reason, Julie's volunteering to take 6 new coaching clients. If you guys want to be personally coached by Julie Harris, and again, I don't think you've taken a new coaching client. When was it? Was it 2 years ago? Or do you remember?
Last week one, but by and large.
She was a return, though.
She was a return, yes.
Yeah.
It's been a couple of years because, we've been doing our books and we've been doing a lot of podcasts and a lot of different things. But now I have probably, enough time available to take on 6, maybe 8 of you guys. And I have emailed 2 other past clients that I have in mind. So if you're interested, what should they do?
Just text me directly. Text me at 512-758-0206. 512-758-0206. So if you guys are interested in being personally coached by Julie, text me directly and I'll arrange a call to make sure you guys are a good match at 512-758-0206. Yes, we have a lot of coaches. Yes, we have a big coaching business, and being coached by Julie is something that, again, is not readily available. So if that's something that you're interested in, if you're looking for what many have considered to be the best coach in the country being your personal coach, that is Julie Harris. That's what she's been referred to before as the best coach in the United States, real estate coach. Do text me directly and I'll set that appointment up, 512-758-0206. All right, so let's get back to this, Julie.
Yes.
First of all, the topic of this show, and this is part 2, is housing markets brace for impact. And this is a continuation. This is part 2, as I said. And really what we've been focusing on is that there's a combination of things that are happening in the economy, let alone impacting the housing market, that thus the title, that have never actually happened all at the same time in the history of pretty much forever. We have rising interest rates. We have a potential global war, but hopefully that's going to ebb soon. We have inflation. We have a lack of housing, and yet we have a tremendous amount, with no reason to believe it's going to slow down anytime soon, demand for real estate. These things are all happening at unison. The combination of things have never actually happened before. So I want you to open your minds to the fact that what you were doing maybe just last year or the year before aren't necessarily going to work now, because all the rules are changing and they're going to change fast. You guys think that if you were in the housing market back in 06, 07 and the rest of it, when you saw the wheels come off the housing wagon, if you think that was dramatic, what we're experiencing now, especially with the effects of inflation, will be something that you will be telling your grandchildren, they'll be telling your grandchildren's grandchildren. Julie used to have, she passed away, she had her great-grandma's name was Minnie Foltz. And when we go visit her, she had big loads. We've told this story before, but it's interesting. She would save things, and she would save like rubber bands and jars and just everything. And basically, not modern people would call her a hoarder, but she wasn't hoarding. What she was doing, well, she was hoarding, but what she was really doing was after the Depression, she learned to save things that had value. Jars had value. Rubber bands had value. Things that would have cost more in a store. So this is kind of a funny way of us to transition into talking about getting back to topic. But imagine if you had the ability to have bought all the fuel for your car last year, how much money you'd be saving this year. Imagine if you had the ability to buy something silly like toilet paper. Well, I guess it's not silly.
Not anymore.
But if you had the ability to buy, we talked yesterday about eggs. We got an ad, we're in Puerto Rico, granted, so everything's more expensive. But we got an ad for eggs that cost $9 a dozen. $9 a dozen. Well, what if you could have bought, I know you can't. What if you could have bought all your eggs last year at last year's price at $3 a dozen? You would have been way ahead of the market, and that would have been actually a hell of a great investment. Toilet paper. You could have bought a ton of toilet paper last year, and probably, and you would have been up. You had to buy it anyway, right? So if you bought a ton of toilet paper last year, and you stored it to this year, you made what will amount to basically a 30% return on your investment. I know these are funny thoughts, but it's true. That's inflation, and there's no reason to believe it's slowing down. The government came out today and said that the inflation rate is at an all-time high, and this is this is actually a manipulated all-time high. The actual number is significantly more, but at 8.5%, and we're just getting started. It's going to get the inflation rate is going to dramatically increase. Listen to yesterday's podcast. We talked in great depth about that, and obviously we've done a lot of shows on it. If you want a real great drill down, go back and listen in our archive to an interview we did with Peter Schiff. If you're watching us on YouTube or listening to us on YouTube, go back and look in YouTube because that was a Zoom video that we did. So you can then get a real idea. And everything that Peter had predicted is exactly what's happening. And we've been preparing you guys. I was going to say warning, but it's really preparing you guys for this inevitable inflation bout for going on probably 3 or 4 years. Because with all the Fed printing all the money and all the other things happening, there was no reason to believe we weren't going to be experiencing something like this. And this is a long-term, or this is going to be this inflation problem is going to be with us for quite some time. It's a hard reset of all prices.
That's right. So do you want to talk about that or go here?
Let's just read that again.
All right. So again, are you prepared for the historic economic shift that's happening now? And remember, none of us have experienced this before. We're not playing the this time is just like last time game because it's not true. What is happening now, again, is a combination of rising interest rates, rising inflation rates, and home prices that are increasing like never before. So listen to part 2, which is today's show, to learn exactly what's happening now so you can be prepared for what's happening next. And this section is going to be what you should be doing about it.
Okay, so this is what you should be doing about point number 1.
Point number 1, know your own financial situation. Use mint.com and the real estate treasure map. You can't make financial decisions or goals for your future if you don't have a great grasp on your present. So we call this, quote, my financial picture in the real estate treasure map. And once you have your financial picture sorted out, then you can use mint.com to track your daily finances. That way you're not ever going to have a day in the future where you don't know your financial picture. And then you can make some much more accurate goals and planning for yourself.
And mint.com also warns you of any charges that happen on any of your credit cards. It tells you about interest rates that the credit cards might be changing. It sort of is like your own private financial advisor that's constantly looking over your shoulder, looking for any aberrations. If you have any rental properties, you can also plug it in, the rental properties, all your assets, everything that you have, and get an instant dashboard of what's going on with your financial health. And that's really important because you're going to have occasional financial pangs of insecurity. And the mint.com is going to be able to level off the emotions so you can focus on getting back to work and being of service to other people.
That's right. And added to this, mint.com also tracks your credit. And I just read about a half an hour ago a new report that is related to this whole inflation business and tightening of the financial markets that both JP Morgan Chase and Wells Fargo just put new lender overlays on their mortgages.
There you go.
And what those specific overlays are is they have both raised their minimum credit score for the best loans, best interest rates with no points, stuff like that. One of them, I think Chase is at 700 or higher, and Wells Fargo is 720 and higher. And Mint will tell you daily what your credit score is.
So what's an overlay, Julie?
So an overlay is an additional rule that lenders can do. Agents will argue that it's illegal. It's not illegal. All lenders can do their own kind of a risk management overlay.
So overlay as regards to the lender is essentially going to issue, they're a servicer, right? So they're lending you money that's guaranteed by the government in essence. The government will have a specific set of rules. Mr. Wells Fargo or whatever, you can loan this amount of money, conforming loan, and these are the requirements that we have for all the borrowers that you're going to be lending to. An overlay is the bank putting more rules on top of that. So when you see overlays, that tells you that the bank is getting very nervous.
That's right. So sometimes you guys will have a deal in the hopper and you'll know they have great credit. They've got a good down payment, but they'll be maybe with Wells Fargo, and Wells Fargo will say, well, that's all great, but we have a standard here at Wells Fargo, a lender overlay that says, you know what, all that's fantastic, but you've only been at this job for 2 years. So we have a rule that if there's only 2 years on the job, we want you to actually put down an additional amount of money, or we want you to have additional reserves, or you have to have a different type of ratio.
And what the banks are doing, and you're going to see them doing this more obviously, is they're going to start figuring in the cost of living, and they're going to start realizing that your cost of living, because just buying staples, food and groceries and gas and utilities, everything is going to increase in cost dramatically. They know that some people, that's going to put a burden on them to the point where maybe they're not going to necessarily be able to afford the mortgage payment that they have now. So an interest rate might qualify them to afford a payment, but then the bank is going to say no bueno, because we're not confident that you're going to actually be able to increase what we predict to be afford the increasing cost of everything else in your life. So these are the types of things, and Julie's going to do, she's actually started researching, I saw. We're going to do a very in-depth drill down study on the different types of mortgages that are out there. So let's talk. Julie and I have been getting a ton of agents asking us about the housing market. Stop listening, reading, and hanging out with negative people. Yes, there is a market shift going on, and yes, you can thrive. Yes, you need a newly updated business plan and lead generation plan, and we have it for you. The best part, it costs nothing. All you have to do is text the word, what is the word? Text the word join. Yep. Text the word join to 47372. 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 When you do, guess what? You are going to link directly to a page where you are going to be able to schedule yourself for a complimentary free coaching session with one of our new member coaches. All you've got to do is text the word join to 47372. We'll text you back a link. You have to say yes, you want the text, and then we're going to text you back a link, and you click the link, and then you're going to be landing on a page that's going to show you a schedule box. You can pick your day and your time, and you'll be able to have a direct conversation with one of our new member coaches. And one of the things they'll do is give you a copy of the real estate treasure map. So go ahead and text the word join, JOIN, to 47372 if you'd like to have a complimentary coaching session with one of our new member coaches. Do that now. I suspect this is the first, again, we haven't done this in a while, that the schedules will fill up relatively quick. We have 3 coaches that have set aside time to have these calls with you guys. But do remember, once their schedules are full, they're full. These are humans that you're going to be talking to. These are not AI bots or some sort of, software program. This is an actual human that you're going to be speaking with for 15 to 30 minutes. So text the word joined to 47372. And when you're on your free coaching session, you can also learn about our different coaching programs. All right, Julie, point number 2.
Yes, point number 2 under the heading what you should be doing about all this. Point number 2, invest in yourself.
Oh, I forgot to say something.
Okay.
Message and data rates may apply. So sorry. So text the word join to 47372. Go ahead.
That's right. So invest in yourself. We have some mini points here, but they're all important. The first one is protect your most important basics. That's shelter. We talked yesterday about either getting a house or refinancing, lock in that low interest rate, food, fuel, and medical. Put your own oxygen mask on first. And one of the things that arises from doing the treasure map and my financial picture is you get really clear on that because you're doing your budget, your personal budget, your business budget. Next, I just mentioned purchase a home and lock in a low mortgage rate if you are not already a homeowner, and perhaps still refinance and lock that in, especially if your rate is higher than about 5% currently.
This is going to sound crazy, but I actually don't think it is, and we should do this too, my dear.
Yep.
You could buy a house now in some markets, most markets really, that you might think is elevated, like, oh my gosh, that's such a ridiculous price. You could buy that, and if all the people that are predicting essentially runaway inflation for the rest of this year into next year are correct, it's probably the easiest money you could possibly make. So if you could buy a house down, put 10% down, $500,000 house, put 50 grand down, and that house elevates in value by 20 or 30% between now and this time next year, you've just made it easy 150 grand for what was basically a $50,000 risk that you get back when you put the house back for sale. I'm not suggesting you do that, but I'm saying for those of you who are a little bit more adventurous, that is not such a bad idea. And, here's the other thought I had the other day. What is it? BlackRock, right? They own all those single family homes. That, can you imagine the massive value of the portfolio they're sitting on? It's extraordinary.
It is.
Yeah, and it's so funny. People thought BlackRock was going to buy all those houses. They started buying them during the housing recession. They thought they're going to put them back for sale. Hell no, they're holding those bad boys forever.
No, it really is astonishing. And, I know from us looking every day, but also from coaching clients and the coaches, there are, I wouldn't say they're necessarily deals, but 6 months from now, they're going to look like a deal probably.
What's a deal, honestly? I
mean, something that's available, first of all.
Exactly.
Something that you can have a logical, predictable upside to. Okay, so neighborhoods that school districts areas that are growing without getting too speculative. So again, this is perhaps for some of our more advanced clients, those of you who already have your basics in line, right? So if you don't yet own a house for yourself, take care of yourself first. And then others of you, maybe rental properties. I was looking at a lot in Worthington yesterday that was in the middle of a neighborhood, never built. There's lots of different opportunities there. And I also see our EXP agents in our EXP family, they're using the express offer to go find stuff and run it up the flagpole and see what kind of price they can get.
But honestly, guys, those of you who are smart enough to have become listing agents or working on becoming listing agents, maybe that's what our coaching program is primarily focused on. Maybe you think about buying some of those houses you're going out and talking to the sellers about listing, and you can use the commission. Say, for example, if there was a 5 or 6 or 7 or 4 or whatever the number was rate of commission, use our guaranteed home sale program where you will guarantee the sale of the home in a certain amount of time. It's all part of our coaching program, explaining to you guys how to do that. Some of the sellers, you might be surprised, don't even want to put the house for sale. Maybe they don't even want to do the light reconditioning or some cases heavy reconditioning you're suggesting for them, and they just want to sell the house. Think about the fact that that house might very well be worth significantly more. And even if it's not, if you're able to lock in a low interest rate now and make it into a rental property, long term, that could be a serious home run for you. The reason that Julie and I are talking and exposing you guys to these types of thoughts is because what most people do when there's headwinds or perceived headwinds in the economy is they do the exact opposite of what it's going to take for them to actually one day be rich, where their money works for them and they no longer work for their money. When everyone else is running for the exit, you've got to, you basically are in a room by yourself and able to pick the opportunity. So be a little bit counterintuitive with and not follow the herd of folks, because generally speaking, most people are going to be motivated by fear. So if everyone is motivated by fear, you need to be, it's the old Warren Buffett quote, right? When other people are greedy, you be fearful. When other people are fearful, you be greedy.
That's right. One of the things that, to your point, are hearing from coaching clients that are proactive lead generators, primarily listing agents who are following that business, they're seeing opportunities where people would be on the market, but here's their objection. I know the house needs a lot of work. I don't have time to do it. I'm not a contractor. And so our agents are smart enough to say, well, why don't I bring you a price as is right now today so you don't have to hassle with that? I'll give you another price if and when the work gets done, but this might be something that I would be interested in.
Right.
So,
well, I mean, to your point, though, if you're not with EXP Realty, it's something you need to seriously consider, because what Julie mentioned a second ago was really valid. If you don't have the ability to have your own iBuyer program in your back pocket, and you're in a lot of the major markets in the United States, you're going to be a huge disadvantage against the Open Doors and the other iBuyer type programs that some of the other brokerages are offering. You need to have the option to offer the seller the opportunity to liquidate the house through an iBuyer program. And EXP's iBuyer program is called?
Express Offers.
That's right. And it's only available for EXP Realty agents. If you guys are interested in becoming EXP Realty agents, Julie and I would appreciate the opportunity to earn the right to be your EXP Realty sponsor. And being a sponsor is a huge privilege and it's a huge responsibility. So we'd love the right to we'd love to be able to earn the right to be your EXP Realty sponsor. Text me directly if you're ready to join EXP, or if you're just EXP Realty curious, at 512-758-0206. 512-758-0206. If you're just getting ready to get started and you're just in your EXP curious and you're looking for next steps, you're not quite ready to commit, that's great too. Just text the letters EXP to 47372. Text letters EXP to 47372, and that'll take you to a website that offers you a ton of information, videos, and all the rest of it, so then you can start making your decision. And remember, message and data rates may apply. But for those of you who are ready to join today, text me directly on my own private cell phone at 512-758-0206.
Yes, and one of the really cool things that EXP is doing this week under their education platform is they have partnered with a company. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. That's one of these companies that will front the seller.
Curbio.
Is Curbio, and there's another one that fronts the seller the cash to become a cash buyer. That way they can buy first and sell second, which then removes the objection. Well, I don't want to, I don't want to get financing. I don't want to have to compete against cash offers. This company makes your seller a cash offer because everybody's got so much equity. They can buy first and then sell second, which shakes loose a listing for you.
That's right. All right, Julie, point number 3.
Yes, invest in your business. So upgrade your tech before the prices are even higher or your product simply becomes unavailable.
That is so smart. I was reading, again, Julie and I are nerds, so just bear with us. We are reading that pretty much all manufacturers of everything are essentially going to stop trying to do covert increases in prices, and they're just going to start saying we have to raise the prices. So we talked before the food inflation, right? So what happens is they'll put less chips in the bag, or the can of food, or it'll go from 16 ounces to 12 ounces, and it's the same price. That's one of the ways that they hide the increasing costs through of inflation. But now what they're going to do, because that's not getting it done, all manufacturers are just going to start saying the old price is this, the new price is that. Where you're really going to see that as in car prices. Elon Musk came out and said, I think they're raising the price of all new Teslas. It was a lot. It was like double-digit percent if I remember correctly. Normally, a car manufacturer might raise the price on a car every year by like $1,000, but now you're going to see prices going up by $10,000, $15,000, because that's what it's costing to actually produce the same product and create some kind of profit margin for all the people that are associated with the sale of that product. That's going to happen across the board. Apple products are going to get more expensive. To Julie's point, buy office equipment if you got to buy it now. Everything is going to get more expensive. In some cases, dramatically more expensive. The upside is your older used stuff actually increases in value too, which is actually kind of shocking. We have Julie and I. We have a car that we're thinking about selling, and said car is worth basically what the replacement car. So we can get a brand new one with a 4-year warranty for what this used car is worth. Isn't that crazy? Well, that's what's happening right now because what's going on with inflation. Yes,
and in that same article I was referring to earlier, they said one of the next things that does typically happen when we're all now aware that inflation is out there is that manufacturers will be pricing that into all future sales because now we're more accepting of it and they can be more direct about it. And so you've got to upgrade your stuff. If you need a new phone or a new laptop, now's the time to do it.
And don't believe that these are just makers of products that are just being greedy and trying to take advantage of the situation. That is the exact opposite of what's actually happening. You all know that one of the things that any consumer looks for is the best price and overall value. So why would a manufacturer of anything want to raise the price? Because they could very well turn off their customers. And so what all manufacturers have been doing is because, frankly, they believe the Fed would get inflation under control, which they will not, is the manufacturers have been holding off on doing meaningful increases in price to reflect their actual cost of producing said good. That is all going to change very quickly, so get ready.
That's right. So the next item to check off your list, systematize your proactive lead generation. Get REDX, for example, not just for their expired and for sale by owner information, but also for their really cool dialer system. You can use an auto dialer to reach people, for example, in your database. These are your past clients, centers of influence, faster and more efficiently. So get more efficient by systematizing, especially lead generation, since that is your number one job.
And by the way, we do have an exclusive agreement with REDX, and REDX is the same exact system that Julie and I used when we prospected and we prescribed to all of our coaching clients. It saves you $150, and all you've got to do is text the word RED to 47372, and we'll text you back a link that you can sign up for REDX. For those of you who've been on the fence about proactive lead generation because you've only been in the real estate industry during this era of buying leads, please listen to what I'm about to tell you. Buying buyer leads has always been an act of, essentially a exercise of futility, but it's even going to be more so now. And what's going to happen that's even going to be more of a surprise to most of you is the cost of the lead is actually going to increase dramatically. Why? Because tech companies themselves are not immune to inflation. Labor rates are going to go up. Google's going to charge more. All the, the power to make the servers, all the expenses that every single business and human has, that a human has in planet Earth is going to increase dramatically. Your cost of paid leads are going to go through the roof. And at the same time, the quality of said paid leads are going to decline dramatically, even more so than they are now. Now is the time to become a proactive lead generator. And one of the systems that we would definitely prescribe you use immediately is going to be RedX. Again, what RedX does is it gives you all of the expired for sale by owner and a whole bunch of other sources. It gives you the phone numbers. It gives you the backstory information. It gives you the addresses. It gives you property data about what the seller might owe. All this is available to you. So here's the picture we have for you. You wake up in the morning. You do your morning routine. You turn on your computer. You then have RedX that has spit out all the newest phone numbers for you to call of all the people that have to sell their homes. These are not buyer leads. These are seller leads. You are a premier coaching client of ours, so you know what to say and how to say it, and then you start making the phone calls. And let's say you've gotten to the point where you are operating at ninja level and your goal is to now set one pre-qualified listing appointment per day. That is called freedom. It is called work. It does require skill, but that makes you immune to rising interest rates. It makes you immune to worrying about whether this lead source is going to, charge more than this one. It makes you immune to all the undulations that are going to happen in the economy because of inflation, because you now finally have control of your future because you are a proactive lead generator. That is the core focus that we hope all of you guys will, adopt as your own focus in your business for here to eternity. So text the word RED, R-E-D, to 47372, and you can join and save $150. So text the word RED, R-E-D, to 47372. Remember, message and data rates may apply.
Now, I have a special secret that is only for listing agents. Are you ready?
Uh-oh.
One of the best things you can use RedX for is as soon as you sell one of your listings, get into RedX and see what has expired in that same neighborhood and or competing neighborhoods over the past even 2 or 3 years, because now you've got a great compelling story to call that expired seller with and let them know that you were the one that sold that house down the street. What does that do to your plans? How about a free comparative market analysis while we're on the phone? That sort of thing. It's a great, very efficient use of RedX. Okay.
Well, not to mention the fact that with for sale by owners, how many of the for sale by owners right now are priced they're all probably underpriced. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yep.
Most for sale by owners do not know what the direction the market's going, so they're actually underpriced. And right now, if you're getting into real estate, we always prescribe after you work your centers of influence as your primary spoke that the next thing you're going to focus on is choosing a proactive spoke, which is going to be FSBOs or expireds. I mean, there's other sources too. We cheat you 20 different sources to proactively lead generate to. But FSBOs right now are going to be the honey hole because they are already decided they're going to sell. They've already decided and told you what they think their house is worth. It's going to be easy for you to know that most likely because of the inflation rate, they're underpriced. And chances are the house is going to inflate in the next 30 to 60 days by at least what it would cost to hire you, which with commissions and all closing costs is typically about 8%. In most markets, you're going to be able to cover that. They probably underpriced anyway. So that's not a difficult conversation to a seller. They can have their cake and eat it too. They can net what they want to net from the sale of the home, and you take care of all the hassle. This is a skills-based approach to real estate, but it's duplicatable. You can apply this in your market urgently, and you don't need to waste a bunch of time and waste a bunch of money trying to brand yourself. This is a phone call. This is you making direct contact with someone who's already self-identified as being someone who has to sell their home.
That's right. You know what's so funny about for sale by owners? They make for some of the most long-term loyal and referral giver clients ever.
For sure.
If they make it through 2 open houses generally, maybe 3, and they thought it was going to sell and then it didn't, and then you sell it, they actually have an appreciation for how hard your job is versus even some of your past clients that, they think it's easy, right? So I've always been surprised how loyal for sale by owners are. Another reason to call them. Okay, so again, we're investing in your business. Next point, upgrade your real estate signs if they need to be refreshed, again, before they get more expensive. That's just practical and tactical. Next, add 1-800-HOME-HOTLINE.com to capture the most motivated leads. Furiously fast lead follow-up sets you apart in any market, but especially now. And by the way, 800-HOME-HOTLINE has not increased their charges.
No, they're not going to either. So 1-800-HOME-HOTLINE.com, there is no dash. 1-800-HOME-HOTLINE.com, and that's you're done for your lead capture system. go to the website, check it out, 1-800-HOME-HOTLINE.com. This system wasn't available when Julie and I sold real estate, but we definitely used an IVR system on all of our signs. Absolutely one of the least expensive, most effective ways to generate listing leads and also tons and tons of buyer leads. It's $37 a month. And you have a sign, you have a rider on the sign that says for free 24-hour recorded info on this house. And then you have your own exclusive phone number, and each listing has an extension that corresponds obviously to that house. Now, we've done podcasts on 1-800-HOME-HOTLINE.com before, so you can just go and listen to that yourself. But really just go to the website and you'll understand how it's an absolute no-brainer service for you to use. This is your time to be more aggressive, not less aggressive. Don't hide underneath the staircase. Don't hang out in front of CNN, in front of the TV watching CNN or Fox News. Stop tweeting. Stop reading all the propaganda. Get to work helping people.
That's right. Next, upgrade your pre-listing package. For some of you, that means get one. But for the rest of you, upgrade your pre-listing package and keep 3 of them in your car at all times. It's amazing how much more you will talk about real estate when you know you are actually prepared.
Oh, let me guess. You don't have a pre-listing package, right? Well, that's the reason you need to join Premier Coaching. We've talked about that. Premier Coaching includes a done-for-you pre-listing package. Your pre-listing package is your silent salesperson. It does all the work for you prior to getting the house. How many of you are actually you don't want to become listing agents because you're fearful of not knowing what to say or how to say it, overcoming objections like, well, how much is your commission? Why won't you list the house for more? Why won't you take a reduced commission? How many houses in my neighborhood have you sold? Why should I list with you and not somebody else? What's your marketing plan? All this stuff that results in many of you never actually wanting to aggressively pursue being listing agents. You need a pre-listing pack, because when you have a pre-listing pack, you send that prior to going on the actual listing appointment, and then we show, and again, it's done for you. You just have to personalize it. We even have a system or a service that'll do that for you as well. That will remove 99% of the stress that most agents will feel when going to a seller's house, and that will make you more encouraged, more motivated to aggressively pursue sellers. That's where it's at in this market.
Exactly. So next we have develop additional spokes in your lead generation wheel. You cannot allow yourself to be overly dependent on any one source, including, and especially, just working with buyers or just working past clients and referrals. You must diversify your sources of business, and you've got to get cracking on that right now.
And make sure your sources of business, your primary sources of business, are proactive lead generation. Look, when you're starting in real estate and you need to generate cash flow, just do whatever the hell it takes to generate cash flow. Take referrals, do whatever is offered to you. You're going to learn, even if it's not the most profitable transaction, you need to get yourself into action. The worst thing you can do when you're starting in real estate is just getting ready to get started, because then you're certainly going to fail out of the business. But as you develop more of a center of influence past client, as you develop more confidence, then you absolutely want to pivot towards being a proactive lead generator, because then you can run massive profit margins. With that profit, you reinvest, and then you reinvest it in things that make you passive income, like rental properties. How many of you right now would love to have 30 or 40 rental properties, especially in a market like this where things are appreciating or inflating so fast? You guys get it? It's not too late for you. The best times in real estate, just purely based on demographics, are still ahead of us, believe it or not. It's crazy to think this, but the number of transactions that are going to happen over the next probably 10 to maybe even 20 years, from the number of millennials buying houses, the number of baby boomers downsizing out of houses, is going to be like nothing our country has ever seen before. So don't think you've missed the opportunity to buy real estate. Don't think you've missed the opportunity to make a lot of money in real estate. You haven't, provided you know what to do and you don't, sit around and get ready to get started for the next 10 years.
Exactly. So next, always be speaking with your database. 40% of Americans stated that they will be moving this year in a survey done back in February. Who are the 40% in your database who will move? Will they be hiring you to help them? Speaking to 5 people every day from your database should be as routine as brushing your teeth. Ignoring that, you don't get to drive past somebody else's real estate sign and say, oh, that was my past client. Well, not if you're not talking to them, they're not.
That's right. Number 4, and this is the most important one, ask for help when you need it, and you probably need help, but you just don't know it. And the best way to know if you need help or not is ask yourself this question. Do you confidently know for sure where your next 5 or 6 real estate transactions are coming from? And if you say yes, and the answer is I'm going to be working with 5 or 6 buyers, you are going to be in for what could be a very shocking surprise. In times like this, where all these different, headwinds are happening, the first people to take themselves out of the market are buyers. I'm not saying buyers won't buy. They'll obviously buy. but you're going to have to be very good at determining which buyer you're going to be working with. And any of these looky-loo types that want to burn up all your nights and weekends just because maybe one day they'll think about possibly, hopefully buying a house, you need to send them to a lender, get them pre-qualified, make sure the lender's using all their overlays, and just by requiring that they have that level of pre-qualification, you'll be shocked how many of these buyers you thought that were going to be your paychecks this year are going to turn out to be nothing other than looky-loos. Leaning back into the fact that if you have a choice to have 10 buyers or 10 sellers, hell, I'll even make it easier for you. Would you rather have 10 buyers, listeners, or would you rather have 3 sellers, right? Yep. All of you would rather have the listings. So why do you focus so much time, energy, and money on chasing buyer leads? Become a listing agent. That's what we do at our coaching company.
Indeed. So there you have it. You've got lots of different homework to focus on. Hopefully you guys were taking notes. This was a 2-part series called The Housing Markets Brace for Impact, Part 1 and Part 2, with lots of actionable items. Specifically, what should you be doing about it? What should you be doing personally? And what should you be doing in your business?
Your homework is, as it is every day, please do share this podcast with 3 other agents. Or it doesn't have to be agents. It can be anybody, really. And please do give us a 5-star review on iTunes, on Stitcher, on Spotify. Thank you guys for continuing to make this #1 listened to daily podcast for real estate professionals in at least the United States. I hope you understand that whatever information we come across that we believe is reliable, frankly, we're going to share with you. We're not pruning what we're telling you. We're not going to, essentially have an agenda with what we're telling you. If we see anything that we know that will have a positive or, even a negative impact on the housing market, we're going to tell you. We told you about new construction. New construction is going to definitely have some headwinds, no doubt. We told you about interest rates increasing late last year. All these types of things. The reason we're telling you this is because we want you to be prepared. And the best way for you to be prepared is absolutely, positively these points that Julie and I just shared with you in the show from yesterday. Thank you for continuing to make this the #1 listened to daily podcast for real estate professionals in at least the United States. You guys have a fantastic day.